Ladies and gentlemen, to Season 11, we're here with Round 1. It's a brand new day for the Sim Racing Alliance. It's going to be a little bit more punishing out here during qualifying.
It's definitely a hard one here. It's what it's like. It's very, very punishing.
For all the way in Germany, this will be the first time we see this in the team series here. This is a track where you will be driving the track, not as much driving the drivers on the track.
Very brave is the Ferrari to get the move done.
He does get the position done.
Oh, huge contact, and they're both going to go around. It's going to be a huge move up the inside.
He's been using every bit of the track.
Pedal to the metal, foot to the floor.
And we're off and away for SRA.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance GT3 Team Series. You're tuned in to the Division 3 stream, and we're here at Laguna Seca for Round 2. I'm your host, Philip Mueller. Thank you for having me back. Returning to the booth once again with me is my main man, Donovan Colton. Donovan, how you feeling today?
Oh, feeling great. I'm excited for Laguna Seca. It's a fun track. It should be a pretty exciting race as always.
We're a man down tonight. Our other co-host, JP Johnston, has returned to the Division 5 stream, which is live tonight. You can check that out also on YouTube. Division 1 is being broadcast on Twitch. Get yourself a little multi-stream going here, but make sure your audio stays on this stream, the best stream, Division 3. Thank you to everybody out there in YouTube land, either watching live or watching the recording. Be sure to sound off in the chat and the comments. Let us know you're here. Qualifying will be starting soon, but before it does, we have so much to discuss. If you were here for last week, you'll remember that our last lap at Paul Ricard was a bit of a chaotic lap. And we said at the time, hey, we're going to need to wait for the dust to settle. We're going to need to see where the penalties go in order to see everybody's final standings. Well, the dust has settled, and so, for example, we had Quentin Shatner. He finished 4th place over the line, got some penalties down to 9th. Colin Shea finished 2nd over the line, got 5 seconds worth of penalties for a little bit of drama, demoted him down to 3rd place, which means Donovan, your boy, Curtis Lee, in the Stealth Panda Racing Lexus, got promoted to 2nd place, making it a 1-2 finish for the Lexus boys. It's a beautiful thing. I can't believe it.
Oh yeah, it is a beautiful thing. I'm trying not to show my bias, but you know, it's kind of hard. I think this track is going to be a little bit harder for him though, because you know it's not strong for the Lexus, but I mean, if anybody could do it, they can. So yeah, it's an awesome result from them.
There you go. That's the attitude. So we've got so those are our driver standings you're looking at there. You know, that's everybody else on the list. Team standings, obviously, the Lexus boys, they're up at the top, followed close-ish behind by the Monster Phoenix Racing team in the Ferrari, which with the whole BOP debacle last week, I mean, extra props to these guys. They did a great job last week holding down 2nd place over the TC18. We're going to jump you straight into qualifying session. We're skipping the track map because we're already in. We are on track. Qualifying has started. The silver drivers are out first. They're out on their out lap, just warming up the tires a bit. Camera focused right on the man of the hour, Curtis Lee, in that beautiful Panda Racing Lexus. Great point, Donovan Colton. As far as tracks go, Laguna Seca, not a whole lot of long speed straights to take advantage of. A lot of braking zones, not something that the Lexus is super good at. What are you thinking for this race for your boy?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough one. It definitely, like you said, you know, some crucial braking, which the Lexus doesn't like. Not a lot of straights, which the Lexus likes. So, and also, you know, the Lexus isn't great on turning. You know, it could definitely get some rotation in on brakes, and for sure, and it likes its power rotation as well. But yeah, it's just a tough track, you know, for the Lexus. So yeah, we'll see how Curtis and DJ, get along with it. But yeah.
So leading the pack, first man out, Russell Allen in the Plan E Racing Porsche with the Irish colors. It's a beautiful, simple, understated livery, but sometimes those are the best. Coming through the corkscrew here, down into the third sector, keeping it nice and tidy. So conditions here for qualifying a little cold. They're actually a little warmer.
I think they're warm. Yeah,
they're warmer
for
than the race
qualifying.
conditions. You're right. So
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more slidey for this session than we would be seeing later. The Porsche not one to have a lot of grip anyways, as he comes across the line, setting the first time of the session, a 1:24.284, something that we're going to see come way down. We always like to take a look at the practice leaderboards for reference. Right now our best time on the board at 1:22.270, as we already see Sean Daniels into the 23s with a 1:23.577. So yeah, these times will be tumbling down, and we've got some fast boys on track tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I don't think we, I am skeptical if we'll get a 22.2. I'm thinking that was put in the race practice server, because the conditions are much cooler in the race practice and a lot grippier. I mean, I was noticing with my practice, I could get match my qualifying pace with like 50 liters of fuel in the race server. But I'm also not great at this track. But yeah, so I'm curious how fast. I mean, we are already down to a 23.3, so we will get into the 22s for sure. I can't imagine we won't, but I'm curious. I'm curious what that pull time will be.
Absolutely, as we see Sean Williams in that beautiful Stefaz Designs Champion Motorsports Ferrari 296 coming down this long, super fast left-hander. Very tricky turn, very easy to get wrong. I've gone off track many a time there myself. Sean Williams doing a good job keeping it nice and neat into this final braking zone. Coming out down the last straight, he'll have a bit of an improvement over his previous lap, going up to a 1:23.230, but still lagging a bit behind apparently his teammate, matching liveries. You love to see it. Colin Shea, who was oh so close to those 122s with a 1:23.025.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to get down into there. Yeah, and this is a technical track. There's a lot of turns that could just mess up the entire, lap. It's and we say that about pretty much any track. Any turn could mess up your lap. But I mean, this one is particularly punishing, I feel like, especially on turns like the corkscrew or this left-hander right here, turn 6 before the corkscrew. That whole kind of complex, even through here, into what is that, turn 10. That one is that all those turns there really is that's my crutch of the track there personally, and it's tricky. A lot could go wrong.
I know that turn 6 you were talking about there. That final fast left-hander that we're gonna get a look at coming here up into the corkscrew. Got this huge sausage curb on the inside that is just waiting to catapult you off into the dirt. It's so easy to get wrong.
Yeah, you can't touch it. You do touch it, you're getting sent to the Shadow Realm for sure. I mean, it is definitely not a friendly curb there.
Yeah, I feel like I never get it perfectly right. It's just varying degrees of wrong. Like, I can be slow as long as I don't die to the sausage curb.
Or you could gain 2/10 and not know how you did it and not be able to recreate it.
It's like, wow, my delta is going really down right now. What did I do different? I have no idea. Christian Holmes coming across the line here, improving to a 123.280, putting himself provisionally into 5th place. We've got an Audi up at the top, Stardust Competizione, West Coast, Best Coast, Rob Moorhead, first driver down into the 122s with a 122.907. You'll love to see it as he goes, a bit wide
doing
there.
some Audi things there.
Just Audi things. You'll love to see it, and I think he kept it valid there, so this is still a hot lap for him. He's a little bit up on his delta. We'll see if he can make an improvement.
But if you could wrangle this car, I feel like this is not a bad track for this car. It's a hard car to drive, but definitely have specialists with the Audi.
Sure, coming out of the last turn here, he'll get a small improvement here. He might just not promote himself up into P2. Look at that,
so close,
7 1/1000ths off of P2 right now, but he's got time. So the silver drivers have until 10 minutes to start laps. So with how short this track is, we've got 2 more laps to go here for these silver drivers. Kicking it over to Peter Wazinski in another Stefaz Designs Champion Motorsport livery. Coming up to this long left-hand turn up the hill. I love this camera angle. This is default Ace Assetto Corsa, and look at that car. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at that,
looks
beautiful.
great.
That is cinematic. But nominate this game for an Oscar right now. That looks good.
Yeah, I feel like Laguna Seca is one of the tracks where the cameras, get it right. There's some tracks like the Hungaroring where, like, some of the camera angles you just see billboards. you don't even see the track. But yeah, this one looks good. It's definitely cinematic.
Yep, so the times are tumbling down. We've got Rodrigo Fernandez, who set a blistering 122.590 to get himself onto provisional pole. He said, that's good enough. I don't need to do another one. Returns to garage in that beautiful livery. We've got Mr. Zipperburn in the, what am I seeing, a Canadian-themed
Yeah, I like that gradient there.
McLaren.
That's
Pretty
nice,
good looking.
yeah.
Currently on P2 provisionally, not going to have an improvement on this lap. He's 3/10 down, so instead we're going to click back over to Russell Allen as he comes across the line, 2/10 up on his delta. This will see him promoted up to 3rd place.
Very nice.
Excellent lap there. Similarly, we've got Colin Shea out for a little bit of revenge this time. Didn't get a great drive out of the last turn. He was that's a heartbreaker. He was about 2/10 up coming out of that last turn, but just couldn't get the power down. Have to settle for 8th amongst silvers.
It looked like a little bit deep on the brakes there and missing that apex. And yeah, it's hard to recover that, especially in the Ferrari.
Yep, that would do. So a couple drivers still left out. We've got Holmes still on a flyer, so perhaps a small improvement out of him. We've also got John Ansom coming across the line, not going to improve on his provisional P14. Got Rob Moorhead practicing his pit entry. I like it. I love it. Peter Wazinski down in 12th place says, nope, that's it for him.
More. Yeah.
No more. And so this would be the last of the silver laps. Christian Holmes coming across the line, not going to be able to make an improvement. He will stay down in 10th place. So
Yeah, that provisional pole time, that's pretty fast. I might be, I might stand corrected with that. We might be getting into the 22-2s as I have a hard time keeping a straight face with Justin McKechnie's livery still. I don't know how long it'll take me to get used to it, but it's a pretty good one, the Bailey Mobile.
The GRR Bailey Mobile representing as he comes across the line for his first flying lap. We see traffic ahead, a car coming out of the pits, but it looks like he's clear enough that it shouldn't be What a gentleman. Gets out of the way.
Gets right out of the way.
Let's Justin get on with it. You love to see it. Great sportsmanship out of the D3 boys and girls. Can't forget Stephanie Fisher in yet another Steph Has Designs livery. I believe we're up to 3 teams now.
Yeah.
Just
that one might be my favorite. I love the the green down one side, red down the other. That's a good one.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad it's working this week. We had a little hiccup last week where it wasn't showing up on stream. This is what you guys all missed, and it's a good one. I can't pick up on what the theme is though. We might need to we might need to get some help on that. I'm not sure what visual motifs I'm picking up on. I see triangles, and my dumb brain doesn't have any idea what that's all about.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely see the P's on the back of it. But.
Yep, gotta love the team name, Bitch Peas, as we see Justin McKechnie coming across the line first. So far, top gold time with a 123.417. Again, that's going to come way down. Got Justin Rosenthal, who also picked the correct livery this time. A beautiful kind of Miami Vice. Got the Miami Heat logo on the front hood. That's a good looking car as well. I'm happy we got that sorted out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good car around here too. It's got a lot of rotation. Yeah, yeah, it's got a lot of rotation. It's strong on corner exits. That's where it really seems to shine. So coming out of the last turn and even the corkscrew. I mean, it's a pretty strong car around here. It feels pretty good.
Yeah, so a note on track condition. Unlike last week, where it was basically fast the entire time for both silver and gold, we are optimum for this session, so plenty of grip out there. So we should see
it's just hot. It's nice and warm out there.
You say hot. It's only 24 degrees ambient, I believe, which is, metric commie units. I don't know what that would be in American.
Yeah.
But compared to how hot it can get around this track, I mean, 24 is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, it's got the track temp, I want to say, was 30 or 31. So, yeah, it's not like crazy hot, but I guess maybe I'm comparing to the race server, which starts out 21. So it's definitely warmer compared to the what the race will be.
So far, our top time for our gold drivers, we've got Mr. John Laz here with a 123.197. 5 minutes left on the board, which around this track is 3 or 4 laps. We got plenty of opportunity for improvements. Speaking of, we've got Pat Cockcroft in the other Plan E Racing Ireland Porsche. Has set himself a 123.280 and is 0.3 up and improving on that time with every turn, almost now up to 0.4 up, coming through this long almost clipping the inside of that sausage curb there, keeping it together as he comes into the braking zone for this final turn. 0.4 up on the Delta. We'll see what he can do as he gets a very good drive out of this last turn. This is going to be a huge improvement. Pat Cockcroft jumping from 15th all the way up to 5th. A beautiful lap, a 122.862.
Yeah, and that I noticed that's tied for the P4 currently. So it's really close up there at the front.
Tight. We've got already 8 drivers in the 22s. Super impressive. These D3 boys they've been putting in the laps on the practice server, I can tell you that much. As we see Quentin Shatner, another huge improvement out of him, a 122.840, promoting himself provisionally up into 4th place on the grid. 3.5 minutes left, so that's at least 3 more laps.
Yeah, if you have enough fuel. I know some people like to go out in 2 stints on this track. It's with 10 minutes. Carry less fuel and split it up into 2 goes. It's a short track. I mean, only 122s, right? So definitely, that is a viable, strategy. So I don't know if I'm seeing anybody do that, but it's kind of hard to keep track of that.
Yep, so we see Derek Schweppe here in the Riot Motorsport Ferrari 296. He missed week 1. He's been having some trouble connecting to the ACC servers, but he's back. We love to see it. Strong driver here in this very strong car, the Ferrari 296. I mean, I raced a season with it, and it's, for me personally, it kind of, I got the impression it turns a 0 into a hero. It's super fast and super drivable for a guy like me who maybe doesn't have the skill to drive some of the harder cars.
It's funny you say that because this is not a car that I could get along with at all.
Oh, man.
I think that's partially because I just am not a fan of mid-engine cars for whatever reason. I'm kind of weird. I like front-engine cars. I like cars that don't turn very well.
Don't turn very well. Okay.
But, yeah.
In the meantime, then, we had John Laz get himself provisionally up onto pole position. A little wiggly out of that turn there with a 122.5. Okay.
Oh, wiggly there, too.
That is not the proper way to drive this track, but that's okay. He's got time for 2 more laps. Take a deep breath. Try again. We've got Samuel Cortez in the TC8 Racing Team McLaren coming into the final turn here. He had a strong improvement there, but you could see he went a little wide in that last right-hander, off into the dirt, lost that time. Still hanging out, still improved his way up into 3rd place on the grid. You can only imagine what it could have been without that little bobble, but he'll have another chance at it starting his final lap.
It's interesting. I actually had a conversation with a lot of drivers yesterday. Some cars are better at touching the sand there on that second to last turn than other cars. And noticing like the Nissan, just it doesn't even care. You could like carry the left tires in that sand and it's just fine. But some cars lose a ton of time by doing that.
I almost feel like that's a feature of the track. Like this infield section here, you could be out on the dirt and you don't even lose that much time. It's very forgiving, I find.
Yeah.
Take a look down there. Haven't seen much from, well, our Aston Martin driver here. He'll have 1 more shot at a lap. Hasn't been able to put a valid one on the board yet, but I like the car, so I had to shout it out. We've got Steven Music in that beautiful American liveried Ferrari 296. Down in 33rd, but he's on for an improvement, so we'll see what kind of jump he can make. Samuel Cortez, he crossed the line, wasn't able to improve, so still 3rd place for him. Now, I'm not seeing a whole bunch of green on the board. We've got Robert Almeida. He's a couple tenths up, so we should see a jump here from 28th to 26th. Okay. We saw Steven Music cross the line just ahead of him, getting himself up into 23rd. And then I suppose our last driver out on track even has the potential for an improvement. We've actually got a pair of them. We've got Carlos Guzman in this beautiful Ford Mustang, currently down in 25th. Out of the last turn, gets decent drive, improving a little bit. Will he be able to steal a position off of 2 people, Steven Music and Chris Sweeney? Back to Martin Alberts, last driver across the line, gets himself up into 32nd place. There is your order. John Laz, Rodrigo Fernandez, Cortez, Zipperburn Allen, McKechnie, Shatner. Well done to all drivers.
Got quite a few silver drivers up there in the top 10.
Yeah, very impressive. It helps that that it was optimum the entire time and we didn't have to deal with a fast track. So, This is that time of the stream where we talk about our sponsors. showing on screen right now, we've got all of our community supporters, sponsors, and title sponsors. Thank you to everybody for helping SRA keep the lights on. We also want to give a huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documize.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRA at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience with premium 3D printed accessories. Featuring precision-crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile Stream Deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style. Elevate every lap with top-tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and Fairy World collectibles, magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay, and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And new sponsor for this season, KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look good, all for the spectacle. Damn it. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
So close.
So close.
That it's of course, you know, the part of the copy pasta too.
Yep, it's a classic.
And yeah, this is great for the top 5. You know, we've got 3 silvers now. We'll see if they stay silver. You know, we are in the part of the season where people could get moved around and shuffled, you know, through within their division. So, or you know, even possibly if you're too dominant, moved up a division. But yeah, so you know, we'll see if they stay silver. Obviously, that's some fast times there.
Oh, little hiccup there. We're still live. We're still good.
Yep.
Okay. So we got to give justice to Rodrigo Fernandez. So last time around on the stream, we got our facts wrong. I didn't remember exactly what his livery was all about. So it is. So the theme for this season is location, 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 and Rodrigo's location is in fact Costa Rica. This livery having all of the native flora and fauna: the jaguar, the toucan, the sloth, the macaw. It's a beautiful thing representing the Becht racing team. Kind of an unofficial thing right now, but that Becht meaning fast in the native Bribri, which is an indigenous language of Costa Rica. So there you go. I have atoned for my sins from last race.
Yeah, getting all the facts.
So our boys are number 1 and 2 in the standings right now, and number 1 in the team series. We've got DJ Watts, could only manage 21st in qualifying. Gonna be a tough one from him. Curtis Lee, you hate to see it because I know he's on your Coach Jeffrey's Academy fantasy team, languishing down here in 34th place. You kind of hate to see it.
Yeah, I know the Lexus. I mean, like I said, it's tough around here. It's not all lost with my fantasy team because I also do have Rodrigo Fernandez there sitting in P2. So not all is lost for my fantasy team here.
Very good. So our formation lap is complete. Everybody has lined up 2 by 2, coming around this final turn, approaching the start-finish line, waiting for those lights to go on green. trying to keep everybody in the correct position. We're noticing some people. We've got Zipperburn kind of far back. He should be up next to that black Samuel Cortez car. Nobody with any drive-through, so we're clear there, but I feel like he lost out on a little bit of space as we come down now into turn 1. Keep it clean. We've already got some drivers off.
There's some death in the background, yeah.
Before we even got to turn 1, what happened here with Mr. Steven Music? This is Rodrigo's teammate. Well, the race has just barely started, and there was some contact up ahead. Yeah, he checked up on the brakes to avoid and just got run into the back of. So that's, you know, coming down into turn 1 there, some drivers, they keep it nice and safe and they brake early. The drivers behind them, maybe not expecting that, and we had a bit of chaos there at the start as John Laz maintaining first place, not quite walking away. Rodrigo Fernandez right on his tail as we come into this third sector here. Now this is a track that is super hard to pass on. You get the feeling that if a move was ever going to happen, it would be here. That you're not going to get many opportunities to pass here as we see more drivers off in the background. This is Phil Brown.
Oh, is that a team kill almost?
That was.
Is there another driver there?
2 BMWs with matching yellow liveries. Oh, he got tapped by a different BMW. Spins completely around, and then,
probably gets collected.
We did see Almeida, who got caught up.
Oh man!
So that is both of the PHR taxi boys with huge front end damage.
That's terrible.
Being forced to pit after only lap 1. You know, it's possible to recover. They're going to have some clean track in front of them when they get back out. The race isn't over yet, but man, they have got an uphill climb ahead of them. As we're back on board with John Laz out in P1, Rodrigo Fernandez keeping it tight, keeping him honest. We've got Mr. Cortez in P3. Quentin Shatner returning to the main stage. He finished, he was actually running, was he running P1 or P2 towards the end of that Paul Ricard race? Back up at the front of the grid. You love to see it. We've got some drama in the back. Russell Allen off at the corkscrew. Curious to see how this happened.
Whoa.
The problem there is the track goes right and the Porsche went left. I have had that. I did that exact same thing 3 seasons ago in the Honda. It just there's more drama ahead. Who is? Oh no.
That's a terrible spot for that, because that corner is mostly blind there, and oh my gosh,
that is
collected a couple cars there.
Who was that? Was the So I believe that was Sean Daniels. Final turn, he got dive bombed by the Aston Martin, and he just gets stranded out in the middle of the track. There's nowhere to go there, and the Porsche and the Mercedes of Christian Holmes just had nowhere to go there. This race is wild. I can't even keep up with this. This is Sean Williams in the Champion Motorsports. Ferrari 296 just got wide out onto the dirt and completely lost it on his own, which, compared to some of the other incidents, it's good to see that nobody else was involved. Silver linings?
Yeah, and not silver linings. Unfortunately, I saw Almeida there with a stop-go 30, likely for speeding in the pit lane. I'm wondering how many we're going to see of that, because this pit lane, it's a short entrance. It's easy to misjudge it, and so if you don't get enough practice in on it, it definitely is easy to speed on that entrance.
Yep, when it rains, it pours for Robert Almeida. That is part of practice. You can't just hot lap. You need to practice your pit in and pit out. So yeah, just potentially a little light on the brakes as we see one of the Lexus boys. Was that DJ Watts? No, that was the other one. That was Curtis Lee got bumped a little bit wide. I want to see exactly how it happened. He was wheel to wheel with one of the Champion Motorsports Mercedes here in this final sector. But
no,
the sausage curb.
Yeah,
It
was the
claims another
sausage
life. You can't
does.
touch those curbs on the inside.
Even the Lexus is not safe from the sausage curb.
I think the Mercedes might be the only car that can even think about going near those things.
Yeah.
So the story back up at front. John Laz in the black and gold Porsche still hanging on to P1. Rodrigo Fernandez, though, keeping it super tight. As we come across the line here for this, don't have a lap count, but it's a lap. 54 minutes left on the clock. We see another car in the pit, drama behind. We're trying to catch it. That's Carlos Guzman. Wonder if he fell victim to the same curb because he's relatively alone on track. Come through this long sweeping left-hander. As we flick it into the right, we see the exact same thing.
Same curve.
Yeah, hate to see it happen.
Yeah, that's a 2-0 KD ratio on that curve.
Oh my god. Oh, he's going to be on a killing spree soon enough.
Yeah.
So, the gaps, just looking at my race control now, super tight racing across the entire field. So Rodrigo Fernandez only a half second back off of P1. Pat Cockcroft here, 4/10 behind Mr. Rosenthal in that Nissan you see ahead. Moorhead only a half second behind him, so that is a group. This is a battle for P6, 7, and 8, covered by only a second. We've got Colin Shea in the Stefaz Designs Champion Motorsport right up behind Mr. Cowley. Another Ferrari driver here. This is down in P9 and 10. Now, one of these days I'm going to see somebody try a dive bomb into that last turn. I want to see it. Though
Yeah, that's definitely one of the overtaking spots. The other one is really right here. Those are the two main overtaking spots on this track, unless you're forcing a mistake, which, you know, it is easy to you know, have somebody get into your head on this track, and so that definitely can happen. You know, this is D3. These drivers are a bit more experienced, so you know, I'm assuming most of the overtakes on track are going to be sent through T-last or that T2 hairpin there.
Yep, excellent point. So John Laz out front pulling a bit of a gap, so he's gotten up to 8/10 over Rodrigo Fernandez behind, which is just outside of slipstream range. Not that slipstream is particularly relevant on this track. Coming down through the corkscrew down into this dangerous Sector 3. Keeping it nice and tidy, avoiding that sausage curb on the inside. Beautiful driving here out of Mr. John Laz. Braking zone for this final turn, keep it nice and clean. Couple drivers, their early pits, so this was Phil Brown, who pit behind Robert Almeida, who served his stop-go 30. I don't know if this is a little bit of, what would you call it? Even the word for it, it's not unity, it's solidarity with his teammate.
Yeah, solidarity. Yeah, there you go.
So hanging on track with his boy down in P38 and 39, but that's okay. We're here for a long time, not a good time. This is a 1-hour race, 51 minutes left on the board. I feel like we've already seen a huge war, and it's only been 9 minutes.
Yeah. This it's certainly gonna be a long race for these drivers, and yeah, especially for those, you know, two taking a pit so early, because that is going to be hard to get through on those tires. Fortunately, again, you know, it's really grippy conditions right now, so you know, if you could keep the sliding to a minimum, that might help out a bit, but it's still going to be hard to get through that on the one set of tires.
Indeed. So some close driving back here. We've got Justin Rosenthal with the Racing Team Nissan GTR. up behind Quentin Shatner, a couple of tenths off of him, with Pat Cockcroft a couple of seconds back as they come through this last turn here. If there was, like we said, there's not a whole lot of slipstream on this track, but coming over here, over the crest on the front straight, down into turn 1 and 2, will we see any type of movement? Everybody just keeping it nice and respectful. No dive bombs here. We don't want to run afoul of the stewards. Contact is highly discouraged. Just ask Colin Shea.
Yeah, and you know, I noticed there, you know, with that gap really going there on that with Justin in the GTR. Like I said, the GTR is really good on corner exits on that last, which you know, so really the spot to pass a GTR is definitely in the braking zone.
So this is Mr. Zipperburn down in 13th place, up behind Ford Mustang of Mr. Jake Battle. Coming into the corkscrew here. A little further down the order, we've got Mr. Jay Queasy in the other Ball of Water GTR, who you may recognize from last race at... Oh, we've got some drama. Hold that thought.
Corkscrew things.
At the corkscrew, that was Mr. Peter Wazinski. You wonder if it's the same turning left to go right situation as we saw earlier, because there's not a whole lot of traffic around, and just a little bump on the inside.
There's such a big dip there into that was another off there. I wonder if the sausage curb claimed. No, it's the same situation.
Yeah, I think he was just keeping it safe on the inside there. Yeah, I'm not sure why it took him that long to get back going again.
Yeah. But yeah, that there's such a dip there on that first turn in the corkscrew on the inside that if you're too greedy, it definitely will just keep you turning left there.
Mm-hmm. What should we look at today? So this is Stephanie Fisher. We have been reliably informed. Livery. This is the two sides of the car representing science and nature. We've got some trees there on the left side, and potentially whatever on the right side. Oh, I saw some molecule shapes there on the rear quarter panel, so I get it now. I see the theme. I like it.
I think also the sides are, you know, one side is for Columbus, Ohio, the other side is for Canada, Ottawa, Canada, according to, you know, the chat. So yeah, that one I'm assuming, let's see, one, it looks like teammate and Stephanie's homes there, so
there we go. I'm glad we asked.
Yeah,
I love to hear the stories behind these liveries, as we have Jake Battle going head to head now. This is Mr. Zipperburn up ahead. I believe an overtake was made. It seems this battle has calmed down, so I'm going to attempt to get a replay. Oh, it wasn't. He went deep in turn 1, dipping
some sand,
dipping into the sand and opening the door. So yeah, an opportunistic move there from Mr. Zipperburn, but that's kind of how you have to do it on this track, is you have to wait for the guy ahead to make a mistake.
Yeah, that's definitely the most reliable way to pass, I feel. You know, saying that, I noticed Jay Queasy there in 21st place. I do believe he served a penalty, a quali ban, and so
that is,
I mean, that's obviously
so we did have three
of
those.
That. Yeah,
so
and a lot of that is, look at that drift there, Tokyo drifting there around turn 9 there, but yeah.
So as you said, Jay Queasy, Mr. J.E. May, aka Mr. Milton May. We also had Willie Vargas, so he was a strong contender from last week. The reason you see him down in 25th is not because this isn't a good track for him, it's because he wasn't allowed to qualify, had to start from the back of the grid. Same thing with Mr. Kevin Johnston in the other West Coast, Best Coast Audi. 3 drivers with quali bands, and they're doing all right up into
Yeah,
what do
it's
we got?
honestly, I mean,
28, 25, and 21. So
yeah.
making a little bit of a comeback after serving
Yep,
that ban.
keeping things clean. You know, obviously this race has been a bit argy-bargy, a little touchy-feely here. And so if some of these drivers really, if you're just keeping clean, staying out of trouble, that, you know, that could pay, you know, very well here at the, you know, first, you know, leg of this race here.
British commentators and saying the words argy-bargy. Name a better duo.
Yeah.
As we see an early pit here, this was Rodrigo Fernandez pitting from P2 at only the 45-minute mark. Not sure what the motivation here is going to be. I would be very afraid, if I were him, of getting caught up in that big train of cars that you can see on the mini-map.
Yeah.
I'm super scared for him. He might be caught in a lot of traffic and lose out on this risky undercut pit strategy.
Yeah, this is a very risky strategy here for this track. It's you know, I could see his idea here. You know, he is just staying right behind the leader. You know, go for an undercut. It's hard to pass here, so you know, so if he could undercut Laz and, you know, be able to hold him off for the rest of the race, definitely, you know, could be a strategy. However, it is tricky. It's looking like he might get some clean air. He's coming out of the pits right now, and there isn't a ton of cars around him at the moment. So, yeah, it's an interesting strategy. Definitely risky, but yeah, we'll see how this turns out though.
See if it pays off for him. You also see there on your screen another early pitter was Justin McKechnie, as well as Kevin Johnson, as we see. Just for funsies. Whoa! Can't even talk about the fastest lap of the race yet.
Yeah.
Christian Holmes doing his best quickscoping montage impersonation. Is coming out of the pits. His tires are presumably still a little bit cold. Don't see. Could be spinning right here, but sorry, we mistimed it. But
Missed it.
But there is a sausage of death on the inside where he was just about to pass through. That might have been it. Got a little more. Oh, we've got a lot more.
The
death
timing
on the mini map. This is Mr. Colin Shea, who was out wide onto the dirt, lost control, and you wonder, is this an unsafe rejoin? Because he, it would have been fine, but he looped
it. Just is the drift, yeah.
And just parked it middle of the track in front of oncoming traffic.
That is tough.
That's going to be rough. So Colin Shea down 19th place. You have to imagine he's going to be needing to pit soon to repair some of this damage. Maybe take a breather, get some fresh tires, get back out on track, see what you can do. John Laz just doing his thing. Kind of just putting in the laps out here at front. 41 minutes left, so quite time yet. So his best lap thus far, a 1:23.380, and his last lap, 1:23.407. So, I mean, he's staying pretty consistent out there. Not a whole lot of traffic, not a whole lot of drama, just quick times. The gap you see there to new P2 driver, Samuel Cortez, over 2 seconds. So he's doing just fine.
Yeah, and for these drivers, at this point, you know, their competitors closest by have pit. So at this point, they should just, you know, take advantage of the clean air. Don't worry about them too much. You know, they're obviously trying a risky strategy that, you know, may or may not work. You know, you want to keep it kind of in mind, but sometimes it's hard if you don't have a spotter. You don't know how it's going here for Fernandez. You know, who. It's going pretty well, honestly. I mean, he doesn't have, you know, much traffic to deal with, and, you know, as long as he could keep these tires comfortable for the whole, rest of this race, it could, be a viable strategy. But yeah.
Yeah, no, so that was, we saw it there, that was Rodrigo Fernandez getting past Mr. John Ansem there, who has not pit yet, so doing the sensible thing and not fighting for this position. This wasn't really an on-track battle, but there's also the potential out there where John Ansem could have said, hey, I'm P27, you're P28. I don't have to give you anything here. I'm going to make you fight for it. And it could have held Rodrigo Fernandez up. Got away with that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, that's part of the risk of a strategy like this, in an early undercut. You never know, who you're gonna come up with and see, what kind of mood they're gonna be in, whether or not they want to get out of the way or not, because they're not entitled to let you by.
Yep, so looking up ahead, we've got Quentin Shatner, who is 4 seconds off of 2, just putting in the laps. Kind of our on-track battle. Let's take a look. This is Jay Queasy right up behind Zodi Fade. Quentin Shatner's teammate coming into the corkscrew here. You thought he was maybe going to take a little bit of a look. Wisely backed out. There wasn't any room there. Coming down into this final sector. So as you mentioned, Donovan, so you're saying as they come out of this final corner here, oh, never mind, we're not going to see it. Zodi Fade coming into the pits here, releasing Jay Queasy. Clean air ahead. Again, he's making a comeback for himself after that quali penalty. Had our race leader, Rama. This is John Laz, who I didn't go back far enough, but he spun it. I don't even know where this is on track. This is the infield section.
Looks like turn 3. I want to say, that's turn 3.
So he looped it off the inside. I can't imagine there was anybody around him, but he took so long getting it pointed the right direction back on track. He's dropped from P1 all the way down to P8. A disaster for John Laz.
This is looking, I'm curious, how this is going to turn out for Fernandez, with that early pit. And it's very interesting.
Oh, man. Huge shakeup here. So Cortez inherits P1. Quentin Shatner inherited P2, but is now coming in for his pit stop. 37 minutes left in this race, so potentially a little early for him. We've got now Pat Cockcroft, Justin Rosenthal, and Rob Moorhead. This one is super difficult to call. We'll have, I guess we'll have to wait until all of the pit stops are done for.
Yeah, a lot of this race is being done in the pits, it looks like.
Looking back, closest battle on track, we've got Mr. Zipperburn ahead of Chris Sweeney in the THR Racing BMW. You saw Zipperburn there getting a little squirrely. We saw a moment from him earlier, and it seems like that lack of adhesion is continuing under real pressure here from Chris Sweeney behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and one thing I also want to.
Speaking of,
goes wide. It's so easy to go wide there at turn 6, and sometimes it's a bit of a stressful spot to rejoin too, because you're still moving pretty quick, and you don't want to, totally lose all your momentum. But it's also easy to have a really sketchy rejoin when you're doing that.
See, this is Mr. Mason Yard. 88 Ferrari, tire on the grass, losing a bit of drive. Gonna see you can put it on the board. That is another one for our sausage of death, as we see a penalty on the board. Is 7. If I can find him on my race control, what happened? Henry Ramirez. Another stop-go penalty, presumably for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, I can't see it for anything else.
Yeah, it's 2 for the day. and potentially many more to come, as we got 21 drivers still yet to pit. Oof.
So one thing I want to look at, it looks like was the gap between, I saw Shatner pit as well, and it looks like, you know, that's a fair gap between him and Rodrigo. And now obviously Rodrigo had some open air, and he still has open air. So yeah, this will be an interesting race here at the end, when his tires are just absolutely, you know, tired. And yeah, I'm curious. I think probably won't be too easy to drive at the end of this.
Yep. So Rodrigo Fernandez, the top of our drivers who have pit, with a 5.4 second gap over Quentin Shatner. We'll have to see how Mr. Cortez slots in, you know, either ahead of, behind, or in between those two. 34 minutes left on the board, so approaching the time now where you might think a pit stop would be a good idea. Got Mike Cowley up forehead, half a second there. The Ferrari, a decent car on the brakes. I don't think we'll see it, but
yeah, especially into the corkscrew. That's a scary spot to, you know, I mean, we definitely see it. I went side by side twice through the corkscrew.
Oh wow, brave man.
Yeah, yesterday, and both of them went through no contact. So I mean, it was successful then, but that's not a common occurrence. That's a scary turn, you know, or chicane kind of thing to go side by side through.
So the moment has come. This is Samuel Cortez pitting from P1 after 19 laps, 33 minutes left in this race, and we have to check where is. So Rodrigo Fernandez, it's gonna, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but Rodrigo Fernandez now coming through the corkscrew. So Cortez, so it is about a minute lost, so it's 30 seconds stationary to get a new set of tires, plus you've got your kind of time in, time out for going slow, so overall you're going to lose 60 seconds.
Rodrigo's got it though. I definitely think he's got it. So
Cortez
now,
is moving.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, this pit lane is just, there he goes.
He's there.
Yep.
There he goes.
There goes Rodrigo Fernandez.
And yeah, so now his task is just keeping it clean and keeping those tires happy, because that's going to be a tall order. You know, like I said, his tires are going to be just absolutely terrible by the end of this race.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it should be a tough challenge for him. But yeah, and it looks like Quentin Shatner also got Cortez there.
Oh yeah. So Fernandez 5 seconds ahead of Shatner, and Cortez came out, like you said, behind Shatner by about 2 full seconds. Wow. So the undercut, we were skeptical. We didn't know if it was going to work, but it paid off beautifully for Rodrigo.
Yeah, at least for now. There's still half the race to go, and I imagine, yeah, like I said, those tires, that's the difficult part.
He will definitely have to be very gentle on corner exit to keep those rears. Maybe bump the TC up a bit. Take it easy on him.
Yeah.
He's got a gap. He can take it easy.
Yeah, you can afford a relaxing drive.
Yep, so we've got DJ Watts here just hanging out. We'll see how that sorts out after it's Mr. Burns still keep it relatively close up ahead behind Mr. Jake Battle. Oh, lots of pitters. We've got Moorhead, Schweppe, Sweeney, Jake Queasy, Steven Music, Peter Wazinski, all doing their pit stops here at exactly the 30-minute mark. See how everything takes out for them.
One thing I find interesting is Bill Brown still has the fastest lap. And what is that fastest lap? I saw somebody.
That is a 1:23.202.
So yeah, that's pretty quick for race pace there, and he set that pretty early on because Phil Brown pitted very early on in this race, and so I find it interesting that nobody has taken that from him yet. We've had pitters with much lower fuel loads, and obviously they might be dealing with some battling here, but obviously Phil Brown with some serious pace here.
So, I mean, lots of drivers close. Your top three here, they've got laps in the 0.3s, and Samuel Cortez, his best is a 1:22.52, so close.
Very close. Yeah, very close.
You're right, with the fresher tires and way lower fuel. Very surprising to
Cortez
see.
goes very deep into T last there. It looks like
up.
Justin didn't get quite as good of a run
the
to be able to
faces.
do anything about it.
Getting the Bailey POV coming into turn one here, super tight on the rear of Mr. Cortez. This is
Late on the brakes there and really closed up that gap, was able to hold it together.
This is potentially a battle for the final podium position. Car number 393. This is Mr. Zipperburn. When it rains, it pours, going a bit wide up the hill, off into the dirt, and front end damage. That is going to be aero damage. He is going to need it to repair that for sure.
Yeah, that is tough.
So we've got here just doing maintaining a gap behind 4.7. It's come down a couple tenths to Quentin Shatner behind, but nothing troubling, nothing to worry about at all. Fastest driver yet to pit is Mr. Pat Cockcroft, as that, I believe, is a blue Oh, so that's Zodi Fade, who has pit already and has found himself on track behind Cockcroft, hopefully not being held up too much. He does have fresher tires, and this is kind of what we were talking about, where if you've got the undercut, if you have pit early, well, now you've just got somebody in front of you who hasn't pit yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully not holding you up too much.
Find it interesting, Pat. I feel so. Oh, there he goes in the pits right after I start speaking.
Smart decision.
So often he goes for undercut strategies. I feel like, or at least that was the case last season. We were always doing the same strategies in D3. In fact, found each other next to each other quite often with our strategies. But yeah. So again, right after we start talking about it, we see John Laz there taking the fastest lap.
There we go with a 1:22.860.
Oh, that is a fair jump there.
That's a spicy lap. So John Laz was leading this race, had a little bit of drama, went off track, repaired his damage, and is back out on track, putting in some blistering laps. Pretty big gap to Chris Sweeney ahead. We'll see if he can make that up in the second half here of this race. Got Curtis Lee. You love to see it. P1 on the board.
Yep, clip it.
Clip it.
Curtis Lee and then Fernandez. My fantasy team is doing well, right?
Stop the count. Stop the count.
That's perfect.
So, last driver out on track, showing P1, but as he comes into the pits, either this lap or the next, or who knows, he might save it until the last possible second. That will promote Rodrigo Fernandez up into P1 of this race, followed by Shatner, Cortez, and McKechnie still. Let's get the Bailey POV still right up behind Mr. Samuel Cortez, keeping him honest, keeping the pressure on. We'll see if this pressure, we've got some blue flag traffic. The Aston Martin barely keeping himself out of the way. Whoa, you saw it in the rear view mirror. He spun off a bit in the background. Yo, that's okay. He didn't take anybody with him. Wow, that was quite the moment there.
That was, yeah, that I'm assuming was a bit spooky there for the Aston. It's always tricky to have, drivers lapping you and, on an inside corner like that, as we see Steven Music having some trouble out of the corkscrew maybe.
So we were side by side here. This is with John Ansom. Tucks in behind, gets a better drive. Does he make the dive? No way he makes this move work. And in fact, He does not make the move
Does
work.
not work. Yeah, that is tricky. It's so tempting to run it side by side there, but it is a scary move. That is not something that's really easy to make work.
I mean, I like the effort. I like that somebody is trying to make a move here. It's kind of been a bit of a procession. But yeah, just that's not the turn to do it, though, unfortunately.
Nope. You need to be patient and wait to that last braking zone into T11. That's kind of the only opportunity in that situation there.
So, jumping on board, this is Mr. DJ Watts in 12th place, who was deep on the brakes behind Jake Battle. Just wanted to maybe show his presence in the rearview mirror. Cost him a couple tenths though, but he's right back in it as we come down this straight here. So I don't know if you've ever visited this track. I don't know if you've ever watched a MotoGP race on this track. But this straight here into this braking zone, on a MotoGP bike at least, is a valid passing zone. Not in this case in the Lexus, but you know, maybe we'll see at one point.
Yeah, that I imagine would be tricky there in the Lexus, as it looks like the Mustang gets a bad run through T6.
And DJ Watts just blows past him into the corkscrew.
Yep.
That is P10 for Mr. DJ Watts. Excellent move from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking back a ways, we've got kind of a close on-track battle here. This is Guzman, followed by Zipperburn, followed by Queasy. Separated, all three cars are under 1 second on track. Zipperburn a bit closer to Guzman ahead, looking up the inside at the final turn. Just barely stays out of his rear bumper. That was almost a stewarding ticket in the making right there.
That was, Guzman there had no intention of giving him that inside. He was like, if you hit me, you hit me. It's not my problem.
So, we haven't seen a whole lot of Mr. Mark Anthony Eaton, who is in a bit of an on-track battle himself, right up behind Mr. Richie Wood in the beady Red Eye McLaren. This is a battle on track for 20th and 21st, as we see the driver we were just watching, Guzman, is being followed by Zipperburn. Zipperburn was off into the dirt. Guzman on his own hits the inside curb.
Oh, and that was close. I don't think there was contact there.
Nope, they did well to avoid it, but we almost saw Mr. Jay Queasy going into the back of Zipperburn and somehow losing out. I don't know if we'll be... Yeah, we don't know what happened there. So he was behind Zipperburn, but then Sean Williams injects himself into the situation and says, no, I'm P16 now. Sorry we missed it, but that was another on-track overtake. So this is Mr. John Lass. So that's blue flag traffic off in the dirt. We're not going to be too concerned about that. But this was our former P1 pole sitter, John Laz. Fastest lap of the race so far, has caught up to Mr. Rosenthal ahead. This is now a very close, very hot battle between P9 and P10. 21 minutes left in this race, and I feel like John Laz is in position, the potential. I mean, Porsche, it's the TR.
It's kind of difficult because I mean the Porsche, I think, is inherently a very strong car around this track. But I really think that the GTR is good too. With, like I said, those corner exits are strong. So
very true. We were side by side for a quick second, Cowley and Cockcroft. I thought we were going to see something happen down into turn 1, but Cockcroft, there's 20 minutes left in this race. He did the wise thing. Backed out, no harm, no foul. Colin Shea, when it pours, he yellow flagged for a second, coming out of the corkscrew. Let's see what happened here. No, I saw it with my own two eyes, but I'm not sure entirely what it was. You know, you saw the blue flag waving. Maybe he was just letting somebody behind go?
I was gonna say he might have felt like he would have impeded the cars lapping him more than he would have liked to. That's what I would think there. He definitely was going deep into the corkscrew, so.
That's fair and good sportsmanship from him. So we're keeping it moving. We've got Mr. Sean Daniels. Oh, on-track pass. That was Williams, who had made it past Jay Queasy.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
Deep on the brakes there from Sean Williams, and yeah, that sets Jay Queasy down a position or two positions maybe.
Couple positions, yeah. So that was so Williams. I think he had gotten a little wide out of turn 6, had let Queasy past, but then coming into the corkscrew, it didn't get the braking zone right. And yeah, so Jay Queasy, we'll see it update as he comes across the line. Yeah, down in 18th place. Yeah, only lost 2 positions, but 2 seconds back off of Sean Williams.
And might be dealing with a little bit of rear end. As we have Lexus off.
So this is our Lexus fan favorite, DJ Watts. See the flashers on, but you also see a sausage curb.
The curb.
Oh,
Wow. That was close. Ooh, boy. I think that sausage curb is at least a 3-0.
I think that was at least the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 that are definitely on quite the streak here, so.
But now DJ Watts has found himself vulnerable to Mr. Zipperburn behind. This is 15th position according to race control, 14th according to screen. We'll see what happens when it up. Zipperburn behind, putting a little bit of pressure on that Lexus, which is not known for being super strong on brakes. 17 minutes left in this race. We might as well jump back up ahead to the guy who we haven't been focusing on too much because he's still got a comfortable gap. It has come down a bit, so I believe after all of the pits were done, it was 5 seconds behind to Shatner. It's dropped now to under 3 seconds, but still a healthy gap and 17 minutes left in this race.
That's still a healthy gap because Shatner, not only has to catch him, but he also has to pass him.
Yeah.
And by the time that he catches him, if that happens, it's you also have to have the tires to pass him on a track like this. So it's still not going to be easy.
Yep. So we see a little trouble in the infield section. This is Mr. Henry Ramirez, who, it must be said, spent his whole day fighting fires in Southern California. So if he doesn't have the energy left to continue, I don't think anybody will hold it against him. Just kind of parked on the side here. We're going to back up ahead. So we missed it when we were focusing on some of the drama down in the midfield. This was Samuel Cortez. We don't know how long ago it happened, but he was running P3. He was passed by Justin McKechnie, who has promoted himself up onto the podium and built a gap now behind 1.4 seconds to Samuel Cortez. So McKechnie, I'm sorry we missed it, but you made it work and you are pulling away now. Excellent performance out of that that Bailey Kish liveried BMW.
I remember seeing McKechnie was saying that he was going to sweat practice this race, and I think he likes his track, gets along with it well, and I mean, obviously, he's doing some good around here, running in P3 for now.
Fantastic job. Taking a look back down, this is Mr. Jake Battle right up behind Mr. Zodi Fade. This is a battle for P11 and 12 on track. 15 minutes left here, only about a second separating drivers. Coming down to this final turn as they will be completing their 31st lap of this race. We've got Schweppe right up behind Mr. Zipperburn, who is himself right up behind Mr. DJ Watts. This is a fight for P13, 14, and 15 on track. These three drivers separated by about a second and a half on track.
I also noticed Peter Wasinski, I probably butchered that pronunciation, is running with the fastest lap there, and
Excellent catch.
with another 22.8. Yeah, that's pretty quick. I'm pretty sure he pitted a while ago too, so maybe he had to deal with some traffic or something, but yeah, now running it with some good pace. He's right up on the back there of Vargas, and who was another very fast driver because I believe Vargas had the quali ban.
Quali ban, correct, yep.
I remember correctly.
He was one of our three.
Yeah, well, and then the other one of the three is right ahead. So these are fast drivers. Running down here. So, yeah.
Yep, very true. Another one, Mr. Jake Weed. Behind, this is Christian Holmes. Coming out down through the corkscrew, keeping it nice and tidy. What happens though in this left-hander? Nothing. Is it the curb again? Don't tell me. Oh, even the Mercedes can't handle it. Oh,
you were
no.
saying, like, if one car can handle it, it's the Mercedes.
I thought it could. I was proven wrong.
Yeah.
So we are officially on a 5-kill streak.
Yeah.
For that final right-hand sausage curb. A brutal scene here. Oh, something has happened. We don't know how long ago it was. Do we pick a random number for a replay to see if we can catch? No, it wasn't fast enough. So this is McKechnie, who had passed Cortez for P3. Something has happened while we were watching a replay of Mr. Holmes. Has now lost the position back to Cortez, but he's keeping it tight. This race isn't over. We got 12 minutes left. Lots of laps to go. Will Mr. Justin McKechnie be able to claw this back? He's still in contention.
I see Mark Anthony Eaton and Riggs, they were really close for a second there, but I think that something solved itself. I don't know how, but yeah, Riggs definitely got past. The Bentley's tricky around here. This is a tricky track for the Bentley. I saw it definitely has a favorable BOP, and the BOP was corrected in the like a couple days ago to be even better because the car itself is pretty tricky. I saw the Lexus and the Bentley, and when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, those two are probably the hardest cars to drive around this track, and you get pace out of that, I could think of at least.
I mean, he's already operating at a handicap. He's on the wrong side of the car with the steering wheel, so gotta give him a little bit of BOP to compensate as Cortez.
Yeah.
Cortez, you see, has dropped McKechnie a bit. The gap has opened up to 1.2 seconds. The gap from P1 to P2, though, is doing the opposite. Quentin Shatner has pulled himself to within 1.2 seconds over Rodrigo Fernandez ahead. Remember, Fernandez pitted at, I want to say, the 45-minute mark, so his tires now over a half hour old. Very vulnerable here to Quentin Shatner behind.
Yeah. That is funny. I see in the chat mentioning the car sounds just disappear on the onboards.
Okay, listen.
Like an electric car.
You know, last race they were too loud, so I reduced them. And okay, you know what? Maybe race 3 we'll get it right. Don't worry about it.
Hey, I mean, it's kind of interesting with hearing those bumpers so loud. Although,
So this
what
is
happened
Mr.
here?
Zipperburn. I might have gone too far back, so I missed it. Shame on me if I do, but so it was at turn 1 that he went extremely deep on the brakes and has returned to garage. So running well, top 15 for most of the race. Maybe some technical difficulties, not sure what happened there. John Laz, remember this was our pole sitter, was running P1 for a while still. He caught up to Mr. Justin Rosenthal, I feel like it was 15 minutes ago, but so far has not been able to make anything happen. This track just isn't one overtaking opportunities.
And like I said, that GTR is hard to pass if you're not making mistakes. I mean, the thing's so powerful out of the turns that you have to get it in the braking zones, and that can be tricky on this track. The braking zones are tough to pass on.
So this is now back up at the front. We've got Quentin Shatner, who is under a second now to Rodrigo Fernandez ahead. 9 minutes left on the timer as we're coming across out of the final turn here at the end of this now 36th lap of the race. Everything to play for here. McKechnie still super close behind Cortez. We'll see if he can get that 3rd place back. John Laz hanging out. The Bentley putting pressure on the Mustang into this super fast uphill left-hander. Close battles on track, but not sure if this track is going to pay us off with any overtakes. Got another one here. We've got Steven Music right up behind John Ansom. Remember, that is our fan favorite.
That's Jay Queasy, yeah.
Jay Queasy coming up the hill. Don't tell me another sausage curb got another kill. No, he went wide.
It just went
a little
wide,
loose.
trying to avoid the
Tough situation there for Mr. Milton May, aka Jay Queasy. Mr. Steven Music, we saw battling with John Ansom ahead. Does he try to make something happen into this right-hander? Surely not. Sausage curb on the inside.
The sausage curb.
Don't ride the sausage, my boys.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is. Yeah. That they have definitely taken a lot of lives here at Laguna Seca.
And it's worth mentioning that the track, as it stands today, does not have all of those dangerous sausage curbs. It would be great to get an update.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure they don't exist anymore. So we got a legacy version of Laguna Seca. Yeah, I'm glad that a lot of tracks seem to be kind of getting rid of some sausage curbs. So which is nice to see. I'm not a fan of them.
So McKechnie keeping it tight with Samuel Cortez ahead. Another kind of new battle on track. We've got Derek Schweppe right up behind the Love of Lexus DJ Watts. This is 13th and 14th position on track, separated by a second as they come down in turn 1 here. See driver going a bit slow. This is Mr. Wilder Vargas. This was out of the corkscrew. He did the thing.
Seen that before.
We have seen that exact move before. You hate to see it, but he together gets it back on track.
Oh, that's scary coming around the corkscrew there and seeing a car on the inside as it's super tight between our race leaders. Looks like Fernandez going just a little bit, semi-defensive there. He's definitely got to, think about how to keep Shatner behind at this point, because this is you know, I imagine those tires are not feeling good at all, and that can't, you know, provide you with a lot of confidence going into these tricky turns.
So Shatner has well and truly caught up to Fernandez ahead with 5 minutes left in this race. Nothing separating these two. We'll see how stout the defense is. You got to put up the brick wall. You got to hold on to this place. There's only 5 minutes to go. Come on, Rodrigo.
Yeah, it's tough, especially this track. I mean, 5 minutes, that's still a fair amount of laps.
Oh, it's gonna feel like a lifetime to him, I'll bet.
Yeah, it's gonna feel like forever. So, yeah, that's I do not envy that position completely, at least.
So we've got Mr. Martin Riggs super tight coming through turns 1 and 2. Do you call that turn 1 and 2, or is that just turn 1 for you?
I mean,
I think technically it's 1 and 2.
Yeah, technically the hairpin's turn 2. It's hard to call.
Right, the kink
turn
is turn 1 on the straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense though.
I know it's silliness, but yeah, that hairpin's technically turn 2, so that's usually what I call it by. But in my heart, it's turn 1.
Tight battles on track. A whole lot happened. I guess we're just going to keep our eyes on our top 2 battles here. That obviously still super close. McKechnie not as close behind Cortez, battle for P3, but he's still within striking range if Cortez were to make a mistake. 3.5 minutes to go, so as they come down through the corkscrew here, potentially only, well, we'll see the time when they cross the line. We're looking at either 2 or 3 laps left in this race.
It's looking closer like it's going to be 3 laps, just barely. Yeah, it's going to be 3 laps.
3 minutes on the clock as they cross the line. That will give them just barely enough time for 3 more laps in. As we see, something has happened.
McKechnie got past. Man, we have missed.
Nope, we're going to get it this time.
We're going to catch it.
We're going to get the move. The 3rd time's the charm. This is the battle for P3 and P4 that's been going on all race, and McKechnie makes it happen.
Sends it.
Put it in there. Final turn.
Yeah.
And he
sends it down the inside, yeah.
Just a beautiful block pass to take away that final podium position. There was a little bit of a contact, and if history tells us anything, it's that the stewards don't like any rubbing of any kind. That's kind of what happened to Colin Shea last week. You know, is it the Sim Racing Alliance or is it the Sim Parade Alliance? Can we make some moves and not get a penalty for it? So, but for now at least, Justin McKechnie, final podium position. After this lap, they'll have 2 more to go. Quentin Shatner still tight.
It's like he fell maybe just a tad bit behind on that lap.
I mean, he's still 0.7 behind. So.
Yep. Definitely still within striking range. If anything happens, he'll be ready to take that position up. It's hard to pass around this track, especially, I mean, because with Shatner too, his tires are probably not feeling great either.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it's hard to know how your competitors' tires are feeling. So, you know, it's hard to know what to risk. So.
Well, to keep it in touch, we've got a super tight on-track battle here. This is P8, 9, and 10. Rob Moorhead, Justin Rosenthal, and John Laz. God, you got to feel for John Laz. He caught up to Justin Rosenthal so many laps ago.
Quickly, yeah.
He's just stuck in P10 despite being arguably the fastest driver on track right now.
Yeah, it's really hard to be in that position, but yeah, this track is just so hard to pass, and you know that Nissan is definitely big on this track, so it's hard to find your way around.
coming down now. Last turn. This will be the white flag as we come across the lap here. Just barely enough time for one more. We're going to cross the line and we're going to have 11 seconds left on the clock. Let's do one more. I hope you brought enough fuel. Quentin Shatner, Rodrigo Fernandez, this is your chance. Who is going to take the checkered flag, as we also have Cortez still right up behind McKechnie. This is two hot on-track battles for these podium positions. Oh, deep on the brakes goes Cortez.
Yeah. That's going to make it really tricky through this this first sector here.
Loses a couple tenths, but still about a half a second behind, still well in touch. Going to take a quick peek over at Mr. Justin Rosenthal and the other bottle of water, GTR, coming turn one. Not a whole lot going on there. They're just kind of in procession. It's okay. Samuel Cortez, Justin McKechnie, 0.4 of a second separating the two. Quentin Shatner, Rodrigo Fernandez, same thing, coming into the corkscrew for the final time here. There's gonna be one opportunity. It's gonna be the final corner. Everybody keep it nice and tidy. Stay off of that sausage. Is he close enough? It's a half a second. I feel like he's not close enough. No.
Yeah, that would have to be the send of the century.
Keeps it respectful.
Yeah.
And so this is Rodrigo Fernandez. A beautiful drive. P1 over the line, followed by Quentin Shatner. Justin McKechnie maintains the position. P3 ahead of Samuel Cortez.
With his rain light on.
With his rain light on in celebration.
Yeah.
Pat Cockcroft here, coming across the line P5. Followed by Sweeney, Cowley, Moorhead, Rosenthal. I guess we'll keep an eye on these guys. It was pretty close. It was less than a half a second at the end, but Rob Moorhead manages to hold off Rosenthal. P8 on the board. John Laz, it's going to be tough to settle for that.
Tough.
P10,
Yeah.
you got to feel for him. But
It's tough to have that kind of pace.
But
have to
still,
settle for that.
over the course of the season, those are still good
Yeah.
points. You
Top
love to
10,
have those.
yeah, it's still important. I mean, it still makes a difference.
So Schweppe, Watts, Daniels, Williams, Goose, Briggs. Excellent race out of all drivers. So,
with the fastest lap going to Peter Wasinski. I need to practice that last name. I'm terrible. But yeah, that's it never was taken away there for the end of the race there. So yeah, that's great.
so end of the race here. Got our drivers filtering our post-race chat. Trying to arrange an interview for the people. I see McKechnie. It looks like he's running the race review for everybody. I see him broadcasting his POV. We probably shouldn't steal him away. But I don't see Fernandez, and I don't see... Well, we can hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we might have to. We had this problem last week as well.
yeah, we'll give the drivers time. So an excellent race there out of our Division 3 drivers. Boy, that first 10 minutes was chaos.
Yeah.
You have to say it, but in the end, a great race. We had some action. You know, this track, not a great track for passing, but some mistakes, some very bold overtaking done. Specifically, you got to give it to Justin McKechnie. I'm going to call that the overtake of the day for sure. Yeah,
that was definitely a brave pass for sure. It looks like we got Rodrigo, so I'm going to be pulling him into the chat here. So Rodrigo Fernandez, quite the race there. We were worried about that strategy. I mean, that was going in early. We're like, Man, that's risky on a track that's hard to pass. Were you worried about traffic, or were you feeling confident about it?
No, not really. I was not worried about traffic. The guys I had in front were about to pit when I caught up to them. So yeah, they went into the pits and I had clear track, so it worked out pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like we were looking at the track map and we're like, man, there's like maybe one gap in the
Yeah.
entire track, and then you happen to exit in that gap. So it seemed like it worked out pretty well for you. How were those tires feeling at the end there?
Not gonna lie, in the end, they were pretty worn out. They were not great. I was sliding all the way. I was not stopping the right way, let's say. But yeah, I was not the only one who did the same strategy as me. Justin did the same strategy as me.
I s-
Justin Magni, or I don't know how to spell
McKechnie, yeah.
that. Yeah, I'm sorry that. Yeah,
Yeah, and it ended up working out for him as well.
glad
Yeah,
to
it
hear that.
was definitely seemed the undercut seemed like a strong strategy. I would definitely was worried about tires for you guys because that seemed like that would be a challenge. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, you kept it together. This track is a bit of a tough um, track to keep everything together. So yeah, nice job on that. Did you check the tire wear at the end?
No, I didn't, but I can check it right now, I guess. Yeah, let me see, but yeah, I can tell you they were not great at all.
Yeah, I imagine.
Uh, the right side, they were on 22.26, no, 76, 2.79, and 2.81.
Oh wow,
Rears, 2.68, 2.73, and 2.78.
that's
Rights, 2.82, 2.76, 2.70. So yeah, around there.
that's
Not bad
not
at
as
all.
bad as I would have
Yeah.
expected actually. So
Well,
yeah,
not that bad actually.
yeah, that's better than I was expecting. I imagine it's still not easy.
Yeah, it was not
Um,
great.
but yeah, well, great job on the win, keeping it clean. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, no, just a big shout out to Quinton Shatner, P2. He called out to me. I had anxiety seeing the ultra dropped, or yeah. We finished like 0.5 or something, and he was cutting up to me like pretty much every lap.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have my I I think I broke my second set of pedals
Oh no.
because my brake were stuck at some point. So going up the corkscrew, my brake was getting stuck, so I was
Oh my
losing
gosh.
2 3 tenths. So yeah,
Oh
I
man.
broke another pedal where I can see.
Oh,
Man,
way to
so
keep it together through the failure.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
it
great.
was it
That's
was crazy.
your brake pedal, making sure that you don't get promoted for
Pretty much, yeah. That's
being
my
too
physical
fast.
sandbag. Yeah,
Yeah, no, great performance, great drive. And enjoy that win.
yeah. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to watching the broadcast. You guys
It,
did a
it,
great
it
job.
was a doozy. So
Really?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of action there in the backfield. You'll see it.
so yeah, there's Rodrigo Fernandez, our race winner. That was quite the race. I honestly was expecting tire wear to be a lot worse than that for
Yeah,
him.
those were not the numbers I was expecting, to be honest. But cold track, maybe it was a little
Yeah,
bit gentler.
I mentioned at the beginning, with a grippier track, that might be easier on tires for sure.
All right, so that is our round 2 race. Laguna Seca wrapped up. Be sure to be here next week. We're going to be at Silverstone. It's going to be a night race, so it's going to be a little hard to see, but there's still going to be just as much action. We can't wait to bring it to you. Donovan Colton, any final thoughts?
No, I mean that was an exciting race. Not quite the last lap drama of the first week, but I think it made up for it in the whole other bit of the race, because that was definitely an exciting one as always.
Yep, action packed from start to finish. All right, well, we are going to close this one out. I will catch you all next week.